At just 17 years old, he did what millions of footballers only dream of. He broke records, silenced critics, and stunned the entire football world. Some call him football's next global superstar. Others believe he's the future of Barcelona. But behind the fame, the trophies, and the roaring crowds lies a story of sacrifice, relentless hard work, and a dream that refused to die. From the streets of Spain to the legendary halls of La Masia, to becoming one of the youngest stars ever to wear the shirts of Barcelona and Spain. How did Lamine Yamal rise so quickly? What obstacles did he overcome? And is he destined to become one of the greatest football players in history? This is not just another football story. This is the extraordinary true story of a teenager who is rewriting football history. This is the true story of Lamine Yamal. What if I told you that a teenager could step onto football's biggest stages and leave millions of fans speechless? A boy who wasn't even old enough to drive would one day wear the famous Barcelona shirt, represent Spain, and be compared to some of the greatest players in history. His name is Lamine Yamal. This is not just the story of a football player. It is the story of a dream, a family that believed in him, and a young boy whose extraordinary talent changed his life forever. A humble beginning. Lamine Yamal was born on July 13, 2007 in Esplugues de Llobregat, Catalonia, Spain. He grew up in a modest environment where success was never guaranteed. Like many children, he faced everyday challenges, but one thing made him different. From the moment a football touched his feet, people noticed something special. He wasn't simply kicking the ball. He was creating magic with it, a passion that never stopped. While other children spent their free time playing games or watching television, Lamine wanted only one thing: football. Morning, afternoon, and evening, he looked for every opportunity to play. Even older players struggled to take the ball away from the small boy with the fearless smile, the family behind the dream. Behind every great athlete is a family that keeps believing when success still feels far away. Lamine's parents encouraged him to stay disciplined, work hard, and enjoy the game. They understood that talent alone would never be enough. Only dedication could turn a dream into reality. Those lessons became part of who he was. A future begins to unfold. As Lamine continued to dominate youth football, coaches and scouts began hearing the same name again and again: Lamine Yamal. His performances attracted attention far beyond his local community. Soon, one of the biggest football clubs in the world came calling: FC Barcelona. For thousands of young footballers, joining Barcelona's academy is only a dream. For Lamine, that dream was about to become reality. The road to La Masia. Lamine entered La Masia, Barcelona's world-famous academy that had produced football legends including Lionel Messi, Xavi, and Andres Iniesta. The competition was intense. Hundreds of talented young players hoped to reach the first team. Only a handful ever would. From his very first training sessions, coaches noticed something extraordinary: his vision, his confidence, his intelligence, and his fearless style of play. He wasn't trying to copy anyone else. He was creating his own identity. A star is about to rise. The little boy who once played football simply for the joy of the game was now wearing the colors of Barcelona. His dream had only just begun. But what happened next would surprise the football world. At an age when most teenagers were still playing youth football, Lamine Yamal was about to break records that would place his name alongside the greatest talents the sport had ever seen. For most young footballers, joining Barcelona's famous academy, La Masia, is the biggest achievement of their lives. For Lamine Yamal, it was only the first step. From his very first training sessions, coaches noticed something different. He wasn't just talented, he was fearless. While many young players were nervous, Lamine demanded the ball, attacked defenders one-on-one, and played with confidence far beyond his years. Every season, he improved faster than anyone expected. He scored goals, created chances, and consistently outperformed players older than himself. It didn't take long for Barcelona's coaches to realize they had a truly special talent. As Lamine continued to shine, he was promoted through the academy ranks at an incredible speed. Each new level brought stronger opponents, but every challenge made him even better. Soon, whispers began spreading throughout the club. This boy could become Barcelona's next superstar. Then came the moment that changed everything. Barcelona's first team manager, Xavi Hernandez, watched the young winger closely. He saw more than talent. He saw maturity. He saw intelligence. And he saw a player ready for the biggest stage. In April 2023, at just 15 years old, Lamine Yamal made his first team debut for FC Barcelona. The football world was stunned. At an age when most teenagers were still playing youth matches, Lamine was stepping onto the pitch for one of the biggest clubs in football history. He became one of the youngest players ever to appear for Barcelona's senior team. The dream that had started with a football in the streets had become reality. But Lamine wasn't satisfied with simply making his debut. He wanted more. Every training session became another opportunity to learn from experienced teammates. Every match helped him grow in confidence. His calmness under pressure impressed fans, coaches, and former players alike. Soon, people around the world began asking the same question. Could this teenager become the next great Barcelona legend? The comparisons with some of football's biggest names started almost immediately. But Lamine stayed focused. He understood that talent opens the door. Only hard work keeps it open. And his greatest challenges were still waiting. Because the next chapter of his journey would take him beyond Barcelona, to represent an entire nation on the international stage. Making your debut for Barcelona is a dream. But wearing your country's national team jersey, that's a different level of honor. After impressing the football world with his fearless performances for Barcelona, Lamine Yamal received another life-changing opportunity. He was called up to represent Spain. For a teenager, it was a moment filled with excitement, pride, and pressure. Millions of fans were watching. The expectations were enormous. Many wondered whether he was too young. But Lamine wasn't thinking about his age. He was thinking about football. When he stepped onto the pitch for Spain, he played with the same confidence that had made him special since childhood. Then, history was made. Lamine scored on his debut for the Spanish national team, becoming the youngest goalscorer in Spain's history. The football world exploded with excitement. Newspapers celebrated him. Fans couldn't believe what they had witnessed. One record after another began to fall. Every match seemed to bring another unforgettable moment. His incredible dribbling, quick decision-making, and fearless attacking style reminded people why Barcelona had trusted him at such a young age. But with fame came pressure. Suddenly, everyone expected perfection. Every mistake was analyzed. Every performance was compared to football legends. Some even called him the next Messi. But Lamine never tried to become another Lionel Messi. He wanted to become the first Lamine Yamal. He stayed focused on improving every single day. His teammates praised his maturity. His coaches admired his dedication. And despite all the attention, he continued to play with joy. The same joy he had as a little boy chasing a football through the streets. The world was no longer looking at a promising youngster. It was looking at one of football's brightest rising stars. Yet the biggest challenge of his young career was still ahead. A tournament that would test his courage, talent, and mental strength against Europe's very best. A stage where legends are made. UEFA Euro 2024. And there, Lamine Yamal would prove that he wasn't just football's future. He was already part of its present. The year was 2024. Europe's greatest football. Nations were preparing for one of the biggest tournaments in the world, the UEFA European Championship. The pressure was enormous. The stadiums would be packed. Millions of fans would be watching. And among football's biggest stars stood one teenager, Lamine Yamal. Many people expected experienced players to dominate the tournament. Few imagined that a 16-year-old would become one of its biggest stories. But Lamine wasn't there just to gain experience. He was there to compete. From the very first match, he played with incredible confidence. He attacked defenders without fear. He created chances for his teammates. And every time he touched the ball, the crowd expected something special. With each game, his reputation grew. Commentators praised his maturity. Former football legends admired his intelligence. Fans around the world began to believe they were witnessing the birth of a new superstar. Then came one of the biggest moments of the tournament. Spain faced France in the semifinal. It was one of the toughest matches of the competition. Spain fell behind early. The pressure was intense. Many young players would have disappeared from the game. Lamine did the opposite. He demanded the ball. He looked up. He cut inside. Then, he unleashed a breathtaking shot that curled into the top corner of the net. The stadium erupted. Millions of fans watching around the world were left speechless. It was one of the most memorable goals of the tournament. With that goal, Lamine became one of the youngest players ever to score in a major international competition. His confidence inspired the entire Spanish team. Spain fought back. They won the match. And they reached the UEFA Euro 2024 final. One match remained. 90 minutes separated Spain from becoming champions of Europe. And Lamine Yamal was about to play the biggest game of his young career. The final had arrived. The entire football world was watching. One match. 90 minutes. One chance to become champions of Europe. For most players, reaching a European Championship final is the dream of a lifetime. Lamine Yamal was only 17 years old. Yet there he was, standing alongside some of Spain's biggest stars, ready for the biggest game of his young career. The atmosphere inside the stadium was electric. Every pass mattered. Every mistake could change history. As the match began, Spain played with confidence. Lamine showed no fear. He attacked defenders, created space, and constantly looked for opportunities to help his team. Although he was one of the youngest players on the pitch, he played with remarkable composure. He wasn't overwhelmed by the occasion. He embraced it. As the game unfolded, Spain's teamwork, discipline, and determination proved too strong. When the final whistle blew, Spain were European champions. The players celebrated together. The fans erupted with joy. And Lamine Yamal had achieved something extraordinary. At just 17 years old, he had helped his country win one of football's most prestigious tournaments. His performances throughout the competition earned praise from fans, coaches, and football legends around the world. He finished the tournament as one of its standout young players and was recognized as the UEFA Euro 2024 Young Player of the tournament. But for Lamine, the trophy wasn't the end of the journey. It was the beginning of a new chapter. The expectations grew even higher. The spotlight became brighter. Every match would now bring greater pressure. The football world wanted to know one thing. Could Lamine Yamal continue to grow and become one of the greatest players of his generation? Only time would answer that question. But one thing was already certain. The young boy who once dreamed of playing football had become a European champion, and his story was only just beginning. Winning the UEFA European Championship changed everything. Lamine Yamal was no longer just a talented teenager. He had become one of the biggest names in world football. But with success came something even greater. Expectation. Every time he stepped onto the pitch, millions of fans expected magic. Every defender wanted to stop him. Every stadium wanted to witness his next unforgettable moment. For many young players, this kind of pressure can be overwhelming. But Lamine chose a different path. Instead of listening to the noise, he focused on improving. Every training session became another opportunity to learn. Every match became another lesson. Every challenge made him stronger. At Barcelona, he continued to work alongside experienced teammates and world-class coaches. He knew that talent alone could never guarantee greatness. Only discipline, consistency, and humility could keep him at the highest level. Despite becoming famous around the world, Lamine remained calm. He celebrated victories with his teammates. He respected his opponents. And he never forgot where his journey began. Football experts believe he has the potential to become one of the greatest players of his generation. But records are not won with potential. They are earned through years of dedication. The road ahead will not be easy. There will be injuries. There will be defeats. There will be moments of doubt. Every football legend has faced difficult times. What separates great players from true legends is how they respond when everything becomes difficult. Lamine Yamal's story is still being written. The next chapters could include league titles, Champions League trophies, individual awards, and perhaps even the Ballon d'Or. No one can predict the future, but one thing is certain. The little boy who dreamed of playing football has already inspired millions of people around the world. His journey reminds us that age does not define greatness. Courage, hard work, discipline, and belief in yourself. These are the qualities that turn dreams into reality. This is not the end of Lamine Yamal's story. It is only the beginning. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Info Nova, because the next inspiring true story is coming soon.